And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you. Yes, welcome back for another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, emanating from you and for you today from WCHR. What's that you say, Polly? Call letters. What is this earth shaking news, you might add? Well, friends and family, we're not on the radio. WCHR was the acronym I came up with for Worldwide Comfy Home Residence. WCHR. So there you have it. I'm your show. I don't know. Case, am I still the show host, or how are we doing this now? I
You
don't know. I
are,
guess I'm.
yeah. You're back. Now
So,
that you can start the show on your own, that makes you the host again.
that's right. That was an extensive training program. And finally, Case turned me loose today. But yes, we have three of our four normal contestants, although none of us are really normal, here on the show today. Me, Case Hoskins, and Worldwide Jeff McAdams, Jared Anderson, banking today. He was grousing a bit earlier about the bank being short of employees. That means that he's going to have to roll all the pennies and nickels by himself today. An interesting aspect. We got into a discussion about the other day. Apparently, guys, there is a shortage of pennies and nickels in financial institutions. What say ye about that? That's pretty interesting stuff, isn't it?
I think we need to eliminate the use of pennies
Yeah.
anyway.
Great time to phase out. I saw something, and this was a while back, that the dime, I believe, has less buying power than the half cent did when it was phased out. So
Wow.
it's time to move on
Yeah.
from change.
There's more value in the material of a penny than a penny.
Just round everything to the nearest quarter and move on.
Yeah.
What bothers me about the whole aspect is I do save change, okay? And I've got a massive collection, a gallon jug almost worth of pennies that I used to be able to take to an automatic coin counting machine inside my branch and have them turn those coins into dollars. I understand that those automatic coin counting machines are a thing of the past, though, that there are very few of them left in existence. So
Just
I don't.
imagining people dropping NiCad batteries into their jug of pennies, and then you throw those into the change
Yeah.
counting machine, and I can't imagine it would enjoy that very much.
Yeah. I know working in IT, the things that drive me absolutely batty are moving parts, right? This is why printers are evil in my mind. They have moving parts. So, yeah.
Anything that feigns to be smart but depends on some kind of size checker or
Right.
like rolling mechanism, that's not as smart as it wants to be.
Yeah. Anyway.
Being the low and dissenting voice here, I still print stuff out, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I know.
but eventually, maybe I'll come around on that as well. But,
We have a large format
let's-
printer at work that is due for service about every 2 weeks. So if you can imagine your at-home printer on quadruple or quintuple the size and all the errors that might cause,
Yeah.
that's what you get.
The only things I got to do with mine is change the ink cartridge every once in a while, and so I'm fairly happy with that. And then occasionally I will have to clean the ribbon from time to time. So, but anyway, we're great on that. Let's go ahead and move on and segue out of this great discussion about
Yeah.
coin, other things, and where we emanate from, and get into Case Hoskins' glittering report that he gives us each week on Twitter information. And I guess, Case, you can look at scheduling. Oh, they've probably condensed that, though. In any event, this is your segment. Take it away, Maestro.
All right, I told you I was going to get one more week of run out of this. The last thing on the schedule that would have been happening this weekend. So track outdoor championships. Whether UofL would have had anybody even participating, who knows? But that was the last thing scheduled. I believe the College World Series would have been coming up around this time. I think I was getting takeout from a restaurant last night, and some of the TVs had sports stations showing old College World Series content, so
Yeah.
I believe we're around that time. and it usually happens the week of the draft, which was this week. So have to imagine that would have been going on, but not on the schedule. And like you mentioned, that will be collapsed after this week. Um, well, they don't collapse it until the July month with no events, but nothing left on the calendar for quite a while. Move into our Twitter accounts, which I think most of ours have been getting a bit more run recently. My tweet is at best case scenario. Jeff tweets is at Jeff McAdams. And once some athletics start getting going again, you'll see some tweets from Card Couple Radio, particularly volleyball.
Yep.
Paulie tweets is at Cardinal Couple, and Jared tweets is at Mr. Anderson Jared.
Yes, indeed. Make sure and follow us on Twitter. We certainly appreciate the discussions and other things that we come across when we go there. And still occasionally go over to Facebook as well. I don't use Facebook as much as I used to. I don't think you get over there much at all, do you, Jeff?
Oh, not in weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So occasionally more of a way to keep up with longtime friends from other aspects of my life and stuff rather than anything else. But follow us on Twitter, and we certainly appreciate that because we're actually having things that we're going to be able to talk about as far as events,
sports related, yeah,
and scores from UofL women's student athletes. My gosh, guys, can you believe it? It was summer slump. We're actually going to have a little bit of softball for us to follow. Yes, indeed. Traditionally a spring sport, but they're going to have a couple of UofL women's softball student athletes playing in a league down in Florida. Case Hoskins wrote the write-up today about this brand new adventure. The first time they've had this, the inaugural Florida Gulf Coast Softball League. Yes, okay, so you had a great article on this. Go ahead and fill us in. What are going to be happening down there with Jordan Wolf and also the very, very talented Schindler?
Yeah, so this news was actually pretty late coming out. Go Cards posted about it yesterday, and they're actually, the pair that you just mentioned, are leaving tomorrow to go to Florida.
And Case wipes his brow because it gave him something to write about in the summer slump.
Hey, you take what you can get, really.
That's
right. But, yeah, so we see these annually. Typically, they take place in the Northeast college softball and baseball leagues, giving the players who are in their off-season, who are in NCAA dead periods, the opportunity to continue to play throughout the year. The reason they play them in the Northeast usually is because it's the heat of summer and it's more dependable weather, not so much potential rain and unbearable heat. But since the Northeast is still mostly closed down and everyone has decided to make Florida their home for sports, as Florida has welcomed that with open arms, then we've seen this Florida Gulf Coast League pop up. It's going to be a baseball and softball league. I think there's about 10 teams for baseball, looked like 6 or 7 for softball. They'll play a 25-game regular season, and then they'll have playoffs as well, and an all-star, whatever. They said all-star gala. I don't know what all they're going to entail, probably an all-star game of sorts. But that's going to be where Jordan Wolf and Paige Schindler spend the next couple of months, continuing to hone their craft before they come back to campus and start getting ready for U of L fall ball, if that happens.
Yeah, both of them obviously very excited to be participating in this league. Both Paige Schindler and Jordan Wolf are rising seniors at the University of Louisville. Schindler was a pitcher at a board in Indiana. Made a few appearances in the shortened 2020 season, tossing actually inning and 2/3 of relief against Alabama, and did not allow a runner while issuing a strikeout. That's not bad against an SEC school, guys. She also entered the game against Texas State, where she entered the game with the bases loaded and 2 outs and delivered a strikeout to end the inning. So some nice stuff out of Schindler, who's not really been much of a regular in the Cardinals pitching rotation since she's been there, but certainly showed some signs of hope and optimism in the shortened season. Wolf, of course, an outfielder. She Jeff and I were discussing a little bit earlier, has actually played in both left and right field for the Cardinals softball team. She went over and took over left field 2 years ago, if I remember correctly, Jeff, when Charlie Butler got injured out in left field. Jordan Wolf moved over to take that position last year. Wolf moved back to right field. She ended the season very well, guys. Let's just mention that quickly for her as well, because she was on a 5-game hitting streak, and it started in right field 4 out of Louisville's final 5 games, batting .324, and she also had 2 hits and a triple against Illinois. So, nice performance against a Big Ten squad there. Both of these, not normally the first 2 players we think of when we think of Louisville softball, but certainly 2 representatives down there for the Manatee Squeeze. Yes, they're going to be playing for the Manatee Squeeze, and they completely blew the logo in this as far as I'm concerned. They should have had a young kid in swimming trunks squeezing a manatee, but
Manatee, yeah.
Yeah, manatee, whatever.
Yeah.
Get the word out eventually.
They didn't
enough
do that,
shots.
did they, guys? Yeah. So tell us about the logo. Tell us about the Manatee Squeeze team.
Well, it is one of these summer ball teams. It's going to be players from all over the country. I didn't pull up the roster. I wouldn't really know any of the names anyway. My national college softball knowledge is not up to snuff. But the Manatee Squeeze apparently play in a county or city called Manatee, according to Jeff. It's very near to Bradenton. And there's another team in the league called the Bradenton Slice. They have an identical logo, except for the Slice are orange and the Squeeze are yellow. So a play on lemonade, I believe. And the Manatee just happens to be the location.
Yeah, it's certainly a great opportunity for those 2 to keep their games going. I know that obviously we're disappointed that the season did end early. Both have expressed that they're very excited to be going back then and playing some softball. They jumped at the chance to be able to play again this summer, and so certainly we'll go down there and hopefully do quite well for the Manatee Squeeze in their endeavors. You had mentioned it's going to be a 25-game schedule for softball.
Actually, just noticed it's 24. Allow me to correct myself.
So they're only playing 24. The Gulf Coast League is listing a 25-game schedule, but it looks like also the Manatee will just play in 24 games. So don't know what the difference is or why they're one short than the league listed. No, who cares? Anyway, they will be playing from all over the United States. Other college softball opponents, softball complexes like the Lakewood Ranch Complex, Miss Sarasota, Palmasola Park, Madeira Beach, and State College of Florida, which I never knew existed. I always thought that Florida State University was the State College of Florida, but I guess I'm wrong on that. So certainly looking forward with great interest to see how they do. These are going to be available via internet. They're going to actually be broadcasted on I think you can get more information on their website there about where these games will be shown. Selected contests will be televised on Stream Live Tampa. In case I did not check that out as a pay-per-view site, what do you know any more additional about Stream Live Tampa?
I don't.
So something we'll certainly investigate and see what we can find out on it.
Looks like it may be a Facebook or YouTube live stream.
And we'll certainly do everything in our power and ability to let you know when our Cardinal softball student athletes will be appearing live with their team on this Stream Live Tampa, so you can watch and see how they do, huh? Let's see how they do. I would have liked to seen Celine Funky play in that league. That would have been a lot of fun as well, but we'll see. I don't know how they did the selections on those guys. Not really sure. But so summer softball, we hope that it turns out better and more health concerned than some of the voluntary university workouts that have been going on in various areas in our nation. The University of Houston, you all may have seen, had to cancel their voluntary workouts due to 6 outbreaks among student athletes.
Yep.
I don't know, guys. Weigh in on that. Just Jeff, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean it's a little concerning. We've heard a lot about in the past week or so various schools as they start to get particularly student athletes back on campus and how they're approaching it. There's been questions we talked about last week, questions about how open they are about the information and results on that. Vince Tari commented on that this week with respect to UofL, but other schools are handling it a little differently for various reasons. You know, I've heard some schools talk about how they're testing everybody, and some schools talking about how they're only testing symptomatic people, which is problematic in my mind. I don't know what Houston's stance on that has been, but it's a little concerning that some of these schools are not necessarily being as data driven and science driven on these things that they perhaps should be. And thinking, oh, well, we only have to worry about if somebody has a temperature. Well, no, you can be an asymptomatic carrier of this. So a little worried that maybe they're not approaching this as they should.
Kate, it looks like Houston was up front and out forward with this information. Still not hearing anything out of the University of Louisville about any specific results or testing procedures or anything of that nature. That's probably a good thing, I guess. I don't know if no news is good news, as we've talked about before. Your thoughts on that? Should Louisville come out with a list of who's been tested and how they did? What do you think?
I think that UofL tested everyone, if I remember correctly. They tested all athletes and all support staff. So we know that much. And I agree that I still think that no news is good news. We talked about last week. Because of the small sample size, rumors would run amok if they reported a number of cases. And I do trust that the university leadership and the athletics leadership would have the presence of mind to announce if something major was happening, if there was something that they needed to pull a plug on. So I think probably there have not been cases. If they are, they've been quite isolated and able to be contained. Otherwise, I think that we would know if something major were happening.
Yeah, and Vince Tari did come out, I alluded to a little bit there in one of his press conferences this week online. He did say that the reason that they're not sharing results in general, even summarized results at this point, is because of the limited number of student athletes that have been brought back to campus. We kind of speculated on that last week. Case, I think you mentioned that as a possibility. Yeah. He did confirm that, which makes sense when your sample size is so small. Things that may not have particular identifying characteristics can still sometimes be identifying. So I understand that concern. I got the impression that as they bring more back, and I think more coming back on Monday, I think is the thought, that we may start seeing more summary statistical type of information on this, so, which I think is good. I hope they do.
Certainly as well. Let's certainly hope that everybody continues to stay well and stay safe down there. We'll go ahead and move on into our next subject today here, and it's also softball related. We found out on Thursday that Celine Funky, everybody's favorite center fielder at the University of Louisville softball squad, got another triple, guys. Not an homer, not running the bases, but she was named to the 2020 Academic All-America softball team, selected by the College Sports Information Directors of America for the third straight year. That's right, she becomes co-sitter for the third straight year, the program's first three-time Academic All-America selection. And guys, I'll tell you what, the actual nomination qualifications for this are pretty high up there. You've got to be a varsity starter or key reserve, maintain a cumulative GPA of 3.3 on a scale of 4.0, and have reached sophomore athletic and academic standards. Funky got a cumulative of 4.0, fellas, and she's in grad school now.
Yeah,
working on an MBA. It's pretty good stuff, eh, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, and we commented with the eligibility relief that the NCAA granted for softball players and baseball players and others, spring sports in general, that she would be able to come back for some graduate work. But let's point out, she was already in graduate school. She graduated from college in 3 years, from undergraduate with her undergraduate degree, and not in a cupcake sort of program either in finance. It's not insignificant. So, that's pretty impressive to be able to do a finance undergraduate degree in 3 years, and now she's going to be 2 years basically mostly done with her graduate with a master's degree in it, also in finance, while playing softball is pretty impressive, and good for her taking on taking advantage of the opportunities that she's been granted. Go for it.
In addition to that, they're going to have to change Funky's walk-up music to "Hail to the Chief." The reason being is she's the 2021 Student Athlete Advisory Council president at the University of Louisville for the next season. And so, obviously, Secret Service will be in Ulmer Stadium for games with that presidential status. And there will probably be a long line of limos delivering her to away contests instead of riding on the bus. Anyway, great stuff there for Celine Funky. She's a Renaissance type of person, isn't she, Case?
Yeah, I think she's shown to be fantastic on and off the field. One of the biggest supporters of the other sports, other women's sports in particular, of the student athletes at UofL. You see her at pretty much every sporting event that she doesn't have a conflict against. So that's always been exciting. She's got a chance to be, a 5-time academic awardee.
Pretty impressive.
Since she's coming back for her 5th year. She was on the All ACC academic honor roll in her freshman year, so a chance to go 5 straight years. Like you said, she's just a fantastic person, both on and off the field, and like Jeff mentioned, pursuing a pretty tough degree and getting the MBA while doing college athletics is no small feat.
Yep.
Out of Carmel, Indiana, she is, which is, of course, a suburb of Indianapolis. She was also a preseason All-ACC selection and also a Senior Class Award candidate in 2020. She has actually led the team in stolen bases last year, 13 for 13, led the team in triples last year, and had 3 of those before the season came to an abrupt halt. She had a fantastic 2019 where she led the nation in triples and set a school record with 13. And, I can't say enough good things about Celine Funky. Certainly going to be a key component on this returning softball beam. And I'm sure that she's somebody that Holly April was really happy to have coming back as. Really happy.
Yeah, I mean, she's... we talk about her a lot because she's so gregarious and out there, but she's also just, by all accounts, and obviously academically she excels, but also by all accounts, it's just a great person, a lot of fun to be around, of course, and caring and wonderful in so many ways. So yeah, I mean, she's a great person to have as the face of your program, which basically is what she is right now for softball. So pretty awesome.
Well done, Celine. Well done indeed. Very, very proud of her as a Cardinal student athlete. All right, guys. When I say Spartanburg to you, what do you think of? Anybody?
Nothing.
Spartanburg,
No.
Tennessee.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Nothing really jumps to mind.
Spartanburg, a town in South Carolina, is the home for the South Carolina Upstate Campus.
Right. Okay.
There's a new arrival in Spartanburg, fellas, and it's Becky Burke.
That's right.
Y'all remember Becky, the three-point shooter extraordinaire during the early years of the Jeff Walls dynasty in Louisville. Becky saying goodbye to her country roads at the University of Charleston, West Virginia, headed southbound, going to Spartanburg for the SC Upstate head coaching job for the women's basketball squad there. How about Becky, guys? Very, very excited and very, very proud of her getting this step up. What do you think on it? Go ahead, Case. What do you think about old BBs?
Yeah, I think it's great to see another former Card taking a head coaching position. as well as another member of the Jeff Walls coaching tree splitting a branch. So I think that it's going to be a great opportunity for her. It would be nice to see her somewhere a little bit closer that Louisville's got a better chance of putting on the schedule, but we'll see what Jeff Walls does with that. Potentially could still want to play against her, so we'll see. I think that she's going to be fantastic moving forward, and I don't think the likes of SC Upstate is her ceiling.
Got to agree with that 100%. And hey, Jeff, you know what? She's in D1 now.
Yeah, kind of a little low end D1, but definitely D1. That's a big step in the coaching ladder. It's always been interesting to follow her career because she's been in she's been head coach at 3 or 4 different schools now. I think this is her third, I guess. Jumping around pretty quickly, but it's because she's good and she's moving up the ranks. She's young. She's still 30 under 30 sort of realm here, and moving up the ranks and doing great stuff. So it's awesome. She's moved into D1, and like Case says, I don't think this is near her top at all, not even close.
Got to agree with that as well. She actually started out her head coaching career at Emory-Riddle Aeronautical University
in Prescott.
Yeah, in Prescott,
not the one in Florida, Prescott, Arizona, where she started the program, created the program from scratch.
Went in there and built that thing, had a lot of success with them.
Mm-hmm.
Got the job at University of Charleston in Charleston, West Virginia, and in a couple of years there posted a back-to-back 25-7 records, guys. That's not bad at all.
Not at all.
She also, in her first year, her team led the NCAA in shooting percentage. Let that sink in a second. They led the NCAA. No classifications, no divisions, nothing like that.
Not terribly surprising, given that it's Becky Burke, who was pretty much a sharpshooter, right?
Yeah, Burke could hit a 3 every once in a while.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. You might want to get her to the ball if she's open. Yeah, and you might want to guard her if you're on the other team. Becky obviously very excited about the move down there. Leaving Charleston, I think, with a little bit of, sadness because she did such great things there in 2 years in turning that program around. But she faces yet another challenge in taking a USC Upstate school 10-20 last year. Coach resigned at the end of the season. They had an interim coach for the last several games. A team that competes in the Big South, and also a team that is going to be a challenge for her, although she's very excited because it's an upgrade in facilities for her, and certainly it also gives her the chance, if the schedule remains. Jeff, are you on your motorcycle?
No, but I have the window
open.
I have my windows open, so yeah, that was somebody going down the street. Fun.
Jeff is now talking to us from his Harley.
Yeah.
Yes, as she also, if the schedule holds, gets the chance to play in a non-conference game, South Carolina, guys.
Cool.
Upstate played them last year, lost by 96 points, so there's certainly room for improvement there. But Becky comes in, she gains the confidence of her student-athlete players. They go through the fundamentals. She teaches them to compete at 100%, to never give up, never say die. And I've got to agree with you, fellas. This isn't the end of the Becky Burke road in coaching. I think she's going to be recognized and go to higher heights. What kind of memories have you got of Becky over the years, Jeff?
It's a little bit Luke Hancock-esque, and that's just sitting down in that corner and dropping threes. I mean, it's amazing. I do also remember, I think it was 2009 in the Final Four when she played there. Of course, every Jeff Walls player has been to the Final Four that stayed the full 4 years. So she's, of course, one of them. So, always open and willing to talk to mostly young girls that are out there kind of seeing her in the limelight. So she's pretty awesome in that respect.
Case, anything about Becky stand out to you?
I don't have, memories of her playing career. That was while I was in high school. Wasn't a, a follower of U of L women's basketball at the time. So I don't have any specific memories. Just that, she's a fantastic shooter, as we've talked about, a great scorer, and has the ability to. I guess what stands out, like you asked, is that she has the ability to teach that shooting skill. A lot of people who can shoot, it's just natural to them. That's what they do. They can't impart that wisdom, and for her to be able to take her teams to the highest echelons of shooting percentages shows that she's able to get the most out of her student athletes and teach the skills that she has.
Becky came to the Cards out of Pennsylvania as a high school senior. Came in and immediately let it be known that she was a shooter and could shoot. My favorite memory of Becky is a comment I made about her years ago in the early editions of Cardinal Couple about how Becky could shoot the lights out, but the thinker could probably go for double-double against her based on her defensive skills. I think her being a statue out in front of you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair critique. Probably she was not a spectacular defensive player, but that's okay. I think she's learned over the years quite a bit. We did see her defensive skills improve over the time that she was at UofL. So, but it's not her forte. We'll say that.
She definitely took the words to heart and became better at her defensive skills. She certainly became one that stressed coaching defense when she started in the collegiate ranks, and primarily did that because she knew that there was a little left unturned in her book of knowledge here on playing defense. But certainly an incredible coach with incredible high achievement standards, and certainly a coach that is very, very player active, player friendly. And I think that she'll do a very, very good job down there with SC Upstate. I'm not that familiar, fellows, with the Big South Conference. Truth be told, if you were to quiz me right now, I don't think I could name another team in the conference.
Nope.
But I'll certainly be paying a lot more attention to them this season.
Yep.
Because our own Double B's is down there and coaching them, hopefully, to a turnaround in their program. Certainly so.
Oh, there's some names in here for the Big South. You should know some of these.
Oh, fire away, Case.
Winthrop, Radford.
We definitely know those two. Yes.
Gardner Webb.
Okay.
Campbell. UNC Asheville. These are all
Asheville. Okay.
Big South teams.
This is one of those conferences that the teams. You're familiar with the teams, but you aren't aware that they were in this conference. Right? Yeah. So some decent teams in there, obviously, but kind of mid-major level. But
the teams that you only pay attention to during conference tournament season, so you can see who's going to make it to the tournament.
Right, and who's going to get the upset in the first round.
Right.
Yeah.
Can the Campbells win a game today in the NCAA first round?
I mean, does Upstate South Carolina? That's the name of it, right? Upstate South Carolina, Upstate. Yeah. Does that count as a directional?
I don't know.
That's a good question of debate, because it is actually upstate, Jeff. So it is going in a direction. It's going upstate,
right?
But it's not specific.
It's not north,
west, north, south. It's just going upstate.
Right.
The state is pretty much all.
Because what's the rule of thumb in the NCAA tournament? You got to watch out for fake states and directionals, but you can ignore double directionals. Yeah, like Northeast Louisiana State. Yeah, you don't have to worry about them. But
they didn't have a lot to choose from, because East Carolina, West Carolina, North Carolina, and South Carolina are already taken, so they had no direction.
Yeah, but those are absolutely true.
Well, you don't want your name to be North South Carolina, so
right?
South Carolina Upstate, I think, takes the place of North South Carolina.
I gotta agree with you. Yeah.
Just like if there was a South Carolina, they'd probably just call it Low Country, University of South Carolina Low Country. Something,
yeah. Or pick a city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would show, I guess you could, down the road. I mean, it's a fine politically correct term. There's nothing there associated with any type of Confederacy or anything like that.
Hmm.
But maybe South Carolina at Spartanburg down the road. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't even know if they're a part of the actual South Carolina college system, though. See, that's the thing that I'm not sure of.
Yeah, I don't
But
know. Different states do it different ways. Yeah.
certainly in Spartanburg, a nice little city, they have big, huge NASCAR event there each year.
Yeah.
It's also about 30 miles down the road from Greer, South Carolina, where our friend Arthur checks in and reads the site regularly, and
Absolutely.
he has vowed to be a fan in the stands once they
Yeah.
let him and others back in to watch Becky Burke coach this upstate squad. So, congratulations to the Beck. Just like I say, another rest stop on the way to her final destination. Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Looking into some other things that have gone on this week, we did have a teleconference earlier this week that the University of Louisville put on that featured the Louisville women's basketball program's co-captains, Dana Evans and Kiana Smith, as they spent a little time meeting with the media on a teleconference to speak of actually a great deal of issues. A lot of it was centered and obviously designed to let them get a little more into the joint statement they made with Jeff Walls about things that are going on in our society these days. But I thought it was a good representation by both on the teleconference. I'll tell you guys, I was so impressed with Kiana Smith after not knowing that much about her, just to see how she came across, just to see how she articulated, just to see her confidence in assuming a leadership role with the women's basketball team this year. Uh, Kiana Smith, you won me over. You had me, the minute you hopped on the screen and started talking. I got to be honest with you. Thoughts on the telecast, guys?
Yeah, I did not get a chance to watch it. I was busy this week with work, so I really didn't get to catch in on those things. But I heard some wonderful things about some in-depth discussions and a response to the things, not just basic platitudes. So that's good to hear, and some honesty and openness in there is always great to see. It's one of the things I like about this program. While we do get some coaches' platitudes out of it on occasion, there are times that they'll stop and say, "Hey, let's give a real substantive answer to some things," and that's good to see.
Case, I think it meant a lot that Jeff Walls contacted both of them as co-captains and said, "Hey, let's do this together. Let's put out a unified statement amongst the three of us, sir." Agreement?
Yeah, I'm in Jeff's boat that I didn't get to watch this or listen to this teleconference, but I would agree that it is very promising that that Coach Walls reached out to them. He understood that he might have the platform, but he did not have the experiences, the lived experiences, the total understanding. And so he sought that understanding and put forth a statement that incorporated that and promoted that. And I've also been proud that they've, instead of saying, "Okay, you made your statement, time to move on, we're putting that aside, good job," they've continued to promote that and allow these players to speak out even more and put forth more of their thoughts on the matters at hand, rather than just saying, "All right, we made our one statement, time to move on."
Both back on campus obviously have gone through, and they did describe in detail going through the COVID testing. Neither one seemed to like the test procedure, although they obviously wanted to make sure they were okay. I can't say as it's the greatest experience in the world to go through as well. But Kellen Smith came all the way in, guys, from Moreno Valley, California. A long, long trip for her. Dana came down obviously from Gary, Indiana, but that's quite the excursion to come back in during the pandemic, I'm sure. And certainly she had some great things to talk about that as well coming out. But they are the first wave.
Yeah, I mean, she's coming from California, but we do have a player coming from Japan, so it's got a bit of a longer trek there.
Yeah, and that's true. I do have to give you credit for that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see actually some type of teleconference or something like that with Narika on her experiences, not only getting here, but being back home for a while
Yeah.
in a completely different culture than what the Americas are going through right
Yeah,
now.
she did do an Instagram takeover on their page that was pretty interesting to see. I didn't watch it in depth, but I did kind of flip through it, and yeah, obviously there's some significant differences in culture between Japan and America. So something I'm actually dealing with professionally a little bit as well. But yeah, it was interesting to see just the different aspects of her life there versus what we know them to be here. So yeah.
Having a chance just to watch a little of that as well, I did notice that she was at a Japanese buffet style restaurant, and they
Mm-hmm.
look very, very similar as far as setup and everything
Hmm.
to the American family style buffets. Those, of course, now in our coronavirus type of society now aren't actually buffets anymore. You get served by someone. It's not a go up and all you can eat free for all. That's unheard of. So, still kind of squeamish in getting back into the restaurant attendance phase of my social activities, but
Yeah.
going to actually try to experiment a little bit on that next week, and we'll see how that goes. Other things going on, of course, in the world of sports at the University of Louisville Women's Athletic Venue. We had a current Cardinal women's golfer and a former Cardinal women's golfer participate in the Colorado Women's Open. Lauren Hartledge, we all know that name. She's back for her final go around with the cards as a golfer. Laura Restrepo, a graduated University of Louisville golfer who is actually on the professional circuit now, both participated in the Colorado Women's Open and didn't fare too badly out there. It was certainly great to see Lauren's name back in the spotlight again, and then she was actually in the top 10 for a while before fading, as did Laura Restrepo. But a women's golf tournament, obviously a big thing. Pro and Am variety both participated in the event. Lauren Hartledge didn't receive any money, guys, for participating. Would have ruined her amateur status, obviously. But Laura Restrepo, who is actually from Panama City, Panama, on the pro ranks now and doing some good things. Golf is one of those more relatively, I think, safer activities than some of the others going on right now. It was good to see them back in the news, guys. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. Golf is one of the sports, depending on how you define sport, that takes the largest land area to participate in. You might consider some car racing if you auto racing depending on your definition of sport, whether you include that or not. But so obviously there's an opportunity for there's ample opportunity for social distancing out on the course, and it can be done. Hopefully they are taking that seriously. Like we said about some of the universities bringing players back, same thing here. Hopefully they're taking that seriously, doing everything they need. I suspect they are. These sorts of things get a little bit of visibility, and it's just not that hard to do in this situation. So, but yeah, it's good to see them back out there. It's good to see some UofL athletes doing some stuff. It makes our job doing Cardinal couple writing a little easier to have some things to write about. So that's always good too.
Yes, indeed it does, sir. It certainly does. One of the things I think I'm interested in also kind of seeing here as we go on is that when will they eventually start allowing such things as galleries back out on a golf course? I think it would be easier to do some social distancing actually out on a wide open expanse on a golf course than it would in other aspects.
It's possible. You could depend upon the good faith practices of the gallery to do that, or having a lot of people kind of overseeing that to ensure it. But it certainly is a little more challenging, I would think, at least for large events. Smaller events where you're not drawing a lot of people, that's actually a little easier to accomplish. So, I don't know. It would be interesting.
Restrepo finished a couple strokes back of Hartledge in the Colorado Women's Open. Both are in the 30s as far as order of finish, back in like 35th and 37th, I think. But Restrepo recorded an oddity in golf, guys. She had an albatross. Case, you play a little golf. Do you know what an albatross is?
I haven't played a lot, but yeah, I do know an albatross is one better than an eagle.
That's right. She actually recorded a 2 on a par 5.
Wow.
A 2 on a
Nice.
par 5. So that's kind of like, boy, you hit it great off the tee. Oh, it's out of the fairway and it's in the cup.
Pull out from the fairway.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool. I didn't notice that. I didn't catch that in the coverage.
yeah, she had the lone albatross in the tournament. So certainly good things for her. A very good, solid golfer during her time at Louisville. I think her and Hartledge's career paths as student athletes crossed, I think, for maybe
Did.
1 or 2 years.
I think so, yeah.
that was it, yeah. But certainly happy to see that she's out there on the pro ranks and doing okay, able to make the cuts and certainly participate. Proud of her as a Cardinal student athlete, guys.
Absolutely.
All right, boys. Anything else to bring up to the table of our topics today?
I do have a correction I want to throw out from last week. I made a comment that Lee Mays, former volleyball assistant coach, was assistant coach at. I said Colorado State. Oops, he's at Colorado. That's one of those that's kind of bad to mix up. So my apologies. Yeah, Lee Mays is at Colorado these days, doing well there. So.
A buffalo instead of a ram, then you might say.
Yes, absolutely.
Certainly a different.
Sean Moth and Kylie Shook would be mad at me for mixing up my Colorado schools.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right, Joe. We'll forgive you because I'm sure that you probably got a lot of flack from Lee after making that statement. No.
No, I didn't. But, I made a mistake. I want to be sure to correct it. So. Well.
With your mistake now taken care of, it is time to go into our weekly quiz.
All right.
That's right, guys. For those of you listening for the first time, those of you that are going to take a chance and see if you can do well on this Cardinal Couple quiz, a brief review of the rules. We have 10 questions for you. They are multiple choice. You get 10 points for a correct answer. At the end of the 10 questions, there is a bonus question. First of all, you do have the option on whether to take the bonus or not. If you get it correct, you get 20 additional points. But if you miss the bonus, you lose 20 points. These guys always take the bonus, but you certainly have that option at home. We hope you do well. Our dynasty isn't here to take the quiz today. Jared Anderson.
Yep.
He's won them since I was 4 years old. But so, with that being his case, so you have to go back to Case being the last one to actually win the quiz.
Yep.
Before Jared did.
I haven't won one yet this season, so.
Jeff looking to
Yeah.
step into that winner's circle and get that garland of roses.
Yeah. Bit of a slump for me recently, so. Yeah.
Okay, it's early season. You're working out the kinks on it. Today's quiz subject. Hey, guess what conference the Cards are in, fellas? They're in the ACC.
All right.
How about that?
Woohoo.
This is going to be a quiz about the ACC.
Okay.
I hope you do well. I hope you're up on your ACC knowledge.
Hmm.
Question number 1. When did Louisville join the ACC? Was it A, 2016, B, 2012, C, 2014, or D, 2009? When did the Cards join the ACC? Was it 16, 12, 14, or 9? Jeff, we'll let you start out.
Oh dear, I was thinking 2013. I'm gonna say 2014. Maybe it was announced in 2013.
Jeff goes with 2014. Case, where are you at on this?
I was also not entirely sure whether it was the 13-14 season or the 14-15 season, but I believe 13 was the lone AAC season, so that would be 2014 was when we joined the ACC. I assume you were in the crowd as well for the Proud to be ACC card prop stunt that we did at the first UofL ACC athletic event.
You know I
football
was.
game.
Certainly. And it was answer C for both of the contestants, and answer C is correct. It was July 1st, 2014,
Okay.
that Louisville officially announced they were going to be members of the ACC conference.
Yeah. So
Very,
13,
very
14,
good
that
game.
ill-fated AAC season.
Right.
Yeah, R1 season and the ACK instead of the ASK. So, question number 2 for you. How many schools are in the ACC, guys? How many schools? Is it 12, 15, 16, or 18? How many ACC schools? 12, 15, 16, or 18? Jeff, what say you?
I believe they list it as 15, but there's some asterisks on that.
Okay, he's saying 15 with asterisks. Case, what do you say?
15 official members, 14 football teams.
Both of the fellows have decided to go with B. 15 is their correct answer, and that is the correct answer.
Yep.
15 schools, as they have duly noted. Not all of the schools participate in each ACC sanctioned sport, but
Right. And there are some other sports that have some other schools that play in it that are not official members of the conference.
correct indeed again,
Yeah.
sir. Very good.
Yeah.
Notifying our knowledge on that. Both
That's right.
of these guys got it right. It is 15B. We'll go to question number 3. Who was the last university to join the ACC? The last one that's become a member of the ACC. Was it A, Louisville, B, Pittsburgh, C, Notre Dame, or D, Georgia Tech? Which university, the latest member to the conference? Louisville, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, or Georgia Tech? What do you got, Jeff?
I think we were. I think Louisville.
Jeff is going to go with A, Louisville. Case, what do you say?
Yeah, I think that's correct. It's a toss-up between UofL and Notre Dame for me, but I'm also going to go Louisville. Pittsburgh was in the previous session with Syracuse, not members of AAC. And Notre Dame, yeah, I believe they were also part of that 3-team swap-o change-o, and Louisville was last.
Both the guys going with A, Louisville is the correct answer, and both of the fellows are correct. It was Louisville.
Nice.
Indeed, A, the last school to join the ACC. And so, hopefully you're doing as well at home. These guys are perfect so far after 3 questions. I should have made this quiz a lot tougher, but we still have more quiz to go.
Maybe.
So we'll see.
It's not an easy question.
It hasn't been easy.
We
Yeah, we've
just
had a-
happen to know the answers.
Yeah. Had a couple of kind of guesses in there, too.
Your guesses have been good, though, sir. You're spot on. Perfect after 3 questions, as is case. Question number 4. What was Louisville women's basketball record last year in the ACC? How did the Cards do in their ACC record for Louisville women's basketball? Was it A, 18-2, B, 14-6, C, 16-4, or D, 17-3? What was the Cards' final record in the ACC last year in women's basketball? 18-2, 14-6, 16-4, 17-3. Jeff, what you got?
So you're talking about this year just finished, like in March, that got cut just barely short, right?
Yes, the last.
Yeah.
Yes.
They completed their ACC season.
Yeah, they completed the regular season, but yeah, I want to say 18-2, and this is a pretty good year.
Jeff is going to go with the 18-2. Case, what have you got?
I think it was 4 losses. That's what I'm going with. 16-4.
Case is going to go with 4 losses. So the fellows have picked 2 incorrect answers, I'm afraid. As the final ACC record was 17-3 for Louisville.
But they did have 4 losses, right? When they lost to Florida State was their 4th.
Nope.
was
Florida
that-
State was their 3rd, guys.
Oh, so they had 2 regular season losses and 1
Florida
post.
State twice, once in the regular season, once in the postseason conference tournament, and once to Syracuse, a 17-3 mark for the Cardinals in the ACC.
See, Jeff, you had the right number of
Conference loss.
you had the right number of regular season losses.
Oh,
and
regular,
I ascribed 1 extra loss.
Yeah.
I'm glad nobody took 14-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we knew that one wasn't right.
All right, both of the fellas have an X next to their record. Jeff, this will be your final chance to go first here in the quiz.
Okay.
Where are the ACC headquarters? Are they in A, Raleigh, B, Charlotte, C, Greensboro, or D, New York City? Where is the ACC? Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro, or New York City?
I
What you
believe it's Greensboro.
He believes in Greensboro. Case, what do you believe in?
I thought it was Charlotte. I'm going Charlotte.
He's going Charlotte. Let's ring that bell for Jeff. Greensboro is the correct answer. Charlotte, unfortunately, incorrect. Greensboro, of course, were the Greensboro
Coliseum is located.
and also the home of the, as for now, ACC men and women's basketball tournaments, although I understand it's going to move around a bit in the future for the men. But yeah, they have the big aquatic center there where they also have the ACC
Yeah.
swimming.
I knew there were a lot of ACC championship events in there, so I thought it was probably headquartered there as well.
Yeah, I knew about the events, but I thought maybe they picked a bigger city.
Yeah.
Halfway through the quiz, Jeff on the verge of getting his first win ever, but there's still 5 more questions to go, and he now gives up the first answer response to Case for our final 6 questions here, the regular part of the quiz. Fellas, question number 6, who was the last school to leave the ACC? Yes, there have been changes in the ACC. Which one of these schools was the last one to leave the conference? Was it A, Rutgers, B, Maryland, C, South Carolina, or D, Furman? The last school to leave the ACC. Rutgers, Maryland, South Carolina, or Furman? Case, you're on the bullet, go.
I believe that to be Maryland.
Case is going with Maryland, my Maryland. Jeff, what say you?
Yeah, that's where I was going as well.
And most of the fellows have picked B, Maryland, and that is correct. Actually, Maryland's departure allowed an opening for Louisville to come into the conference.
Yep.
Maryland, of course.
Most everyone of my friends that's fans of other teams in the ACC that have been in there for a long time think they traded up by getting us in there instead of Maryland. So, you know.
I was reading a report on how the teams that had recently entered the ACC over the last 10 so years were doing, and Louisville actually got an A- as a grade for all sports, according to one writer who was actually out of North Carolina. So getting an A- out of a North Carolina writer, that's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Jeff maintains a tenuous 10-point lead. We're going to question number 7. When was the ACC founded? What year was the ACC founded? Was it A, 1953, B, 1927, C, 1956, or D, 1860? When did the ACC get founded? Your responses again. 1953, 1927, 1956, or 1860? Case, you're up. What you got?
I am going to go with 1956.
He's choosing 1956 as an answer. Jeff, what say you?
For some reason, and I have no idea why, the 1920, I think he said 1923 answer is what stuck out to me. That seems really early, but I do know the ACC has been around a long time.
Fellows going with 2 different answers on this. Which one was correct? Neither of them were correct, I'm sad to say. Because 1953 was the correct answer.
53, okay.
1953. 1860 would have been quite interesting, being as there was both northern and southern schools in the ACC.
States claiming to be from different countries in there at the time. Yeah, that's fun.
We succeed from the Union, we also succeed from the ACC.
Yikes.
Anyway,
Man.
1953, the correct answer.
So I have to say, I was looking at, earlier we were talking about USC Upstate and whether it's part of the USC system.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking up the USC system, and it was established in 1957. So I was thinking that was when USC would have been open to starting things up with a conference. So I thought maybe it was all intertwined there in 56, but just too late.
Brilliant out of the box thinking, Case, but it was incorrect.
It was.
because the answer is 1953. But we'll give you a pat on the back. For
It's closer
some
than
nice-
Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
About 27 years closer.
Yeah.
Hopefully you did better at home than these two guys here as we go into question number 8. Question number 8. How many sports are fielded in the ACC? How many total sports are fielded in the ACC? Is the answer A, 32, B, 27, C, 25, or D, 40? How many sports, ACC? Case, your choices are 32, 27, 25, or 40. Where are you going to go?
27.
Case goes with 27. Jeff, what say you?
Yeah, so we claim 23 at UofL, and we're in most of them. I don't think it's quite all of them. I'm trying to decide between 25 and 27. I'm going to say 25 also.
Case went with 27. Jeff, you're saying 25?
Yeah, I'll
Or
say
you're gonna
25.
Stay with Case.
I'm going to say 25. I thought he said 25 too, but yeah.
I thought I heard Case say 27.
I did. I said
Yeah.
27.
Okay, then I just misheard you.
One of these gentlemen are correct, one is wrong. Who is correct, who is wrong? Case has the right answer with
Ah.
27.
Okay.
27. It breaks down 13 men's sports and 14 women's sports in the ACC.
Yep.
So there we go. We've got, fellas, a tie going into the final 2 questions of the quiz. Both Case and Jeff have missed 3 questions. Question number 9. Which school is the northernmost member of the ACC? Which school is the northernmost member? Is it A, Notre Dame, B, Pittsburgh, C, Syracuse, or D, Boston College? Your choices again. Northernmost member, Notre Dame, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, or Boston College? What you got for me, Case?
Syracuse.
He's going with the Cuse. What say you, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's Syracuse.
Both of them have gone with C, Syracuse, and both are correct. That is right. Syracuse,
Geography
slightly
lesson.
Northern
Yeah.
distant. A little further north than Boston College, a little further north than Pittsburgh and Notre Dame. The orange of Syracuse. That's
I knew it
the
was
correct answer. Hope you
northernmost.
got that right.
I was just hoping you weren't going to not name it and make me pick the most northern of the options.
Yeah.
That was going to be tough.
Yeah, if I'd left that, it's just said which one of these schools is instead of which school is.
Right.
Yeah. Good. I'll remember that for future quizzes in order to trip you up even better.
Even more geography.
We got more geography, less facts. All right, going into the final question of the round before the bonus, they are tied with 30 wrong answers each. Or I guess you could say 6 right answers. How many states are represented in the ACC? How many states are represented in the ACC? A, 11, B, 10, C, 9, or D, 12? 11, 10, 9, or 12? Case, what you got for me here?
Counting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Right, me too.
They had
I think
their
it's 9.
fingers out and extended. Case is going to go with 9. Jeff, what do you think?
I counted 10, but I'm not sure if I'm missing one. But I'm going to go with 10.
Jeff has decided to go with 10 as his answer. One of them was right, obviously. One of them is wrong. The answer is 10.
Yeah.
That is right. 10. Jeff gets the answer correct.
All right.
It's because I felt pressure to not keep counting. I got to 5 and then I stopped.
Actually, the first time I counted them up, I came up with 9 also. Because you know who I forgot? Dummy
Clemson?
me. No. I had Clemson right off the bat. I forgot Notre Dame.
Ah,
Yeah, I've done that before. Forget Notre Dame's in there. Yeah.
I think I mentally forgot Pittsburgh. Like I thought Pittsburgh, but then I didn't think Pennsylvania. I think that's what happened.
Pittsburgh has obviously been forgotten about by the rest of the conference as well. Okay, sorry if there's any Pittsburgh fans out there, I apologize. All right, guys, we're going to the bonus question, and we have Jeff on the cusp, on the verge of winning his first one of the season here. The bonus question is available. Jeff, will you take the bonus?
Of course.
Case, will you take the bonus?
Well, see, if we were tied, I was thinking about being cheeky and not going for it. Which
Let me just throw this option out here to you. You are 10 points behind. If you do not take the bonus and Jeff gets the bonus wrong, you could win.
Yeah, the logic is still the same, right? I could not gamble. Yeah, I'm going to go for it, though. Yeah.
That's right. They break tradition. No, they don't break tradition. They both go with the bonus again. Good luck with the bonus at home. Your bonus question is, how many bird mascots are there in the ACC? How many bird mascots? Is it A3, B4, C5, or D6? How many bird mascots in the ACC?
Physical mascots? Or
Bird
name mascots?
Mascots. Physical mascots. Jump up and down and run around and create havoc on the sidelines or also on the basketball courts. How many bird mascots? I'm going to, since you both have gone first, an equal amount of times, I'm going to flip a coin. Heads is Case, B is Jeff. The answer is tails. It is Jeff. Jeff, you go first on the bird mascot question.
Yeah, so again, I'm trying to count here. I'm coming up with 3.
Jeff comes
What were
up
the options
3,
again?
3, 4, 5, or 6. Jeff is saying
Yeah.
3.
Again, it's one of those, I don't know if I'm missing some, but I'm coming up with 3.
Case, what say you? 3, 4, 5, or 6?
I think it's only 3, but to win, I have to go with a different answer. So I'm going to go with 4.
Case, using an unheralded strategy here, but interesting nevertheless, is changing his answer to 4. So it will not be in the same categories. Jeff, was his strategy good or not? Let's find out here. Let's first of all look at the UofL Cardinal, a bird mascot. Let's look at the Boston College Eagle,
Eagles, yeah.
mascot. Let's look at Sebastian the Ibis at Miami, and let's look at the Gobbler of Virginia Tech.
I missed Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Because I guessed 4.
Yeah, because I missed Sebastian the Ibis after we talked about him last week. Dang it.
The answer is 4. Oh my golly. Jeff, on the cusp of winning his first tournament of the season, falls in the end. Case
That's why I asked too. I gave you a clue. Because it's the Hurricanes.
I know, right?
Bird name.
Hey, I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
That's right.
I was too busy counting myself to, I wasn't paying too much attention.
We did specify. That is, you don't see a hurricane on the sidelines of Miami, unless, of course, it's tropical weather season.
Right.
The players have not been vacated. But Sebastian the Ibis, that's right. Very good. Case takes the quiz, getting his second win of this quiz season.
That feels kind of dirty because I got that question wrong. But
you got it wrong, and you backed into it, and you changed your answer because you wanted to have something different than Jeff. But it doesn't matter when you stand on the winner's platform.
Win's a win, right?
I virtually send you the one-eared toothpick holding bear as a sign of your achievement. Who I can't find, by the way. I don't know what happened to him. All right, fellas, good quiz. We hope you all did as well as Case, or even better at home. Let us know, certainly, in the comments section of the Cardinal Couple website, how you did on your quiz, and let us know how you responded to that bird mascot question. This too, that'll be fun to kind of see how you all took that. All right, guys. So, going a little long today, but certainly not a problem. We had a lot of fun. Let's roll into some final thoughts. We'll go ahead and start out this week. I rarely start out on my final thoughts, but I'll go ahead and go first this week, give you guys a little chance to formulate theirs. Very, very excited to see that we're going to get actually some actual physical contests to watch in softball. Don't know all the ramifications of when we'll be able to watch the Manatee team play. We don't know, if it's going to be a pay-per-view. I'm going to, investigate all that and find out later, and endeavor to keep you updated on the website at cardinalcouple.com at the things that are going on as far as when our Cardinals will be playing for the squeeze. Case, what you got?
Yeah, so mine is to clarify, or answer the question earlier we had of whether or not USC Upstate is part of the USC system, and it is. It is one of 4 accredited universities, part of the system. There's also USC Aiken and USC Beaufort. So USC Beaufort is, I guess, the Low Country one, as well as USC Sumter could be that as well. USC Florence is now Francis Marion, and USC Coastal Carolina is now Coastal Carolina University. And the University of South Carolina's official name is USC Columbia, because it is part of a system.
Very cool. So it is actually a part of the actual South Carolina University system. That's good stuff. I did not realize that Coastal Carolina was at one time, sir. I've been on that campus before for an ACC tournament years ago when they moved it out of Greensboro, and it's a beautiful campus. Beautiful part of South Carolina down there, not too far from Myrtle Beach. But there are no hotels or the crap down there. So I'll leave it. All right, Jeff, what you got?
Yeah, I just, again, shout out, congratulations to Becky Burke. Obviously a major face of UofL women's basketball over the years, and continues to step up and improve in her career. And she continues, if you follow her on social media, she continues to be very supportive and vocal about her support for UofL women's basketball still, and Jeff Walls. So it's cool to see.
Absolutely beautiful, yeah, to see one of the apples on the Walls coaching tree fall into a nice bucket here. I sent her a nice little personal message as well, since I've known her for quite a few years, and I said, congratulations. Remember, even though you can't play defense, I hope you teach it well. I got back a nice little response from her. She's going, some things I'll never be able to get rid of in my life. All right, guys, great show today. Case has been practicing. Look what we can do, Louisville, all week long, singing at falsetto, since Jeff refuses to sing our closing music. Take it away, Case.
No, I'm going to pull a Jeff and say absolutely not.
One day, oh yes. All right, guys. Great show today, Jeff. Get us on out of here. It's time to go watch some horse racing.
All right, thanks.